Wait, which?
All right, we had some brief technical difficulties there with our internet, but we are back and we are ready to talk about the Duquesne Duke squad this year. So we will go back to Alex and see what he has to say about Duquesne this year.
All right, so Duquesne, they're going to be another bottom of the pack team. They lost, was it Coulter? Is that who I said?
Yes.
Yeah, Coulter. He pretty much ran the show at Duquesne. They do bring back Darius Lewis, the senior center, 6'11", 250. The kid's a stud. But I think that's about all that they're going to have this year.
All right, Chris, what are your thoughts here on Duquesne?
Yeah, like Alex said, they lost Coulter along with Micah Mason, and they basically were combined for like half the team's points per game, which was insane. They lost their top 4 scorers from last season, and that's something that it's hard to come back from. It's very hard to just get that production back right away. But I mean, they got 3 new transfers. Terrence Smith from Nebraska, he has 3 years left of eligibility, so he's going to be a great point guard these upcoming years. They also got Emil Blackman from Niagara, and he averaged 16 a game there. So he's a great addition. Cale Abrahamson, a 6'8" forward from Drake. He can stroke it. Another great addition. But I mean, this backcourt is going to have to rely on transfers. So I think it's going to be hard for them to just like get in the groove right away, I guess, with the new team.
All right, I like it a lot. Sean, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, so they're really young. They're going to experience some growing pains right away and really get beat up in non-conference. They play Penn State on the road, who we know is going to be a breakout team this year, probably their best in program history. They play Pittsburgh, who we're not really sure about, but I think they'll be a really good contender in the ACC. And also they go to Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, play against John Calipari and the Kentucky Wildcats. So I don't really have to elaborate on that one, but I think it'll be a tough year for them overall. Maybe a tough couple years ahead, but yeah, I don't really see much happening with this team.
It's going to be a tough road for the Dukes. Sorry to my sisters who go there, or who have gone there. So it's going to be tough for them, and I know they're huge basketball fans. So next up, we have UMass, the Minutemen. Alex was telling us all about the Minutemen before we started the podcast. They were 6-12 in conference play, 14-18 in the regular season. So we'll let Alex start off. I know he's got some great comments about the Minutemen and the recruiting and all the program stuff.
Well, according to 247 Sports, they list 11 of the A-10 teams in the recruiting aspect, and UMass did not make it. They are definitely not they don't have a top-tier recruiting class. Whoever said that's an idiot. They do return a few big guys, 6'10" Malik Hines, 6'8" Seth Berger. They return their point guard and their wing scorer, Dante Clark, but this is a team that might beat somebody that they're not supposed to, but that's about it. That's about all they'll do.
All right, I like it. Sean, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'd like to go against Alex's comment, actually. I saw on ESPN.com they have 2 3-star recruits, Brizan Gresham and Chris Baldwin. Don't really know much about them, but I know they're front court players, and they'll add depth right away. And also DeJon Jarrera. I don't know how to say his name, but he has the most potential out of this freshman group. And I think he's one of the favorites to be A-10 Rookie of the Year. But the bottom line is this team bring back Dante Clark, their best player from last year. But in order for this team to really make any noise or do anything, they're going to have to play a more balanced game and not really rely on Clark for everything. But I really don't see them doing that, and I think it would just be a bad year for them overall.
Yeah, I'm looking at Ken Palm right now, and he has them predicted at 7-11 in league play and 15-16, so a little bit below average. I think they're going to be able to make some noise in some games, and some games on the road they're going to struggle on. We'll go to Chris last and see what his thoughts are.
So yeah, I have way about the A-10 this year, but they lost Trey Davis and Jabari Hines, two of their best players. They do, and I'm excited about this. They do get Lawayne Pipkins. He's a sophomore, but he was ineligible last year. He's from Chicago, Bogan High School. He's an electric player, really exciting. Saw him play against Marcus Levette, and he was just fantastic. But he's going to be good for them in the future. Potential to be an NBA pick, but this definitely is not UMass's year. They might have a good year down the road sometime, but they've never really been good, and I don't see that happening anytime soon.
All right, yeah, I think everyone is kind of in agreement. Just kind of an below average team, average to below average. Next, we're going to talk about the Richmond Spiders. Go Spiders! 7-11 in league play last year, 16-16 overall. What are your thoughts on the Spiders? We'll throw it right back to Chris.
So apparently, according to whatever I was looking at, they brought in the best recruiting class in team history. So I mean, that's good. They have Nick Sherrod. He's a 6'5" guard sharpshooter, can beat you off the dribble. He will get minutes off the bench, definitely. But basically, this is going to be TJ Klein's team. I think he's definitely going to put up 20-plus points per game. And he also has Chandre Jones, a nice guard to complement him. He can put up a solid 15. So, yeah, this is going to be TJ Klein's team. And honestly, TJ Klein will take them wherever they want to go. But it's going to be his year, and he's going to be the leader and the superstar for this team.
I like it. Alex, what are your thoughts?
Well, Chris just took everything that I was going to say. I was going to basically say that this is TJ Klein's team. TJ Klein's a big who can play inside, shoot outside. I mean, the kid's a monster. He dropped 33 on Dayton last year. They still lost that game, but they do lose their leading scorer and rebounder, Terry Allen. So that could be a big hit to them. A fun fact is that apparently this team was in Ireland over the summer, and one of their players, a Northeastern transfer, Kwesi Abaka, went to some local band sing-along thing, and he won the whole thing. So, fun fact of the day.
Boy, that is, some people just don't dig as deep as you, Alex. That's why we love having you on here. All right, Sean, we'll let you clean up and see if you have any fun facts to add about the Richmond Spiders.
So it's like last year they struggled during conference play. They played really well during non-conference play, playing against some bad teams. But this year they put together a better non-conference schedule with Wake Forest, Texas Tech, and Maryland. And the thing for this team will be defense. We know they can score, and they'll score in bunches. But if they can't play defense, it's not going to be fun to watch this team play.
Yeah, I know what it's like to cheer for a team that doesn't play a lot of defense. It can be struggling sometimes. So we'll keep moving along here. Next up, we have the Fordham Rams. They're not the Rams. I don't know what they are. Fordham.
They are the Rams.
They are the Rams. All right.
They are the Rams.
That's there. 8-10 in league play last year and 17-13 overall. What are things looking up in Fordham? So we'll go right back to Sean.
So they made it they actually had a good season last year, and they made it to the CIT postseason tournament, College Invitational. That's not the NCAA
Big time.
nor the NIT tournament, but below that. And they lose two of their top players in Mandel Thomas and Ryan Romes to graduation. And a big-time producer for them will be incoming graduate transfer Avante Hawkins, 6'5" guard, averaged 17 points last year for Eastern Michigan. Was very efficient. They have a couple of JUCO transfers. Was it like three of them, and they'll be expected to produce right away. But the one I'm intrigued to see from that group is 6'10", big man Prokop Slania. And what I read is that Ryan Romes, the guy who graduated last year, really developed under that Fordham coaching staff from his freshman to senior year. And I'm intrigued to see what they do with Slania, considering how big he is and how raw his skills are. So that's one thing to look out for.
All right, I like it a lot. Chris, we'll go with you now.
Yeah, Sean pretty much took everything I was gonna say. But the only things I really have to add to that are Javante Hawkins, the transfer, Eastern Kentucky. He actually played under Coach Jeff Neubauer at Eastern Kentucky, so he has that familiarity there. And so I think he'll just be able to step in, pick up where he left off at Eastern Kentucky, put up 17 games. So he was really consistent there. Fordham, they have a chance to be in the upper middle pack, but I see them being right around where they were last year. They do have a very easy conference schedule, so that'll work to their advantage. But like Sean said, they did lose Thomas and Jerome, so it'll be tough for them in that aspect.
All right, Alex, what do you have to say here about Fordham?
I think they'll be a middle-of-the-pack team, like Chris just said. You guys missed one major player in their team, Christian Sangfelder, a 6'7" junior forward from Leverkusen, Germany. He has basically been, since his freshman year, one of their go-to guys. He plays as a big, but he can also play outside and shoot the three. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with a few other guys coming in. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
He shot 39% from three last year, so that's certainly something to work to look for. Now he's from Germany. Did he win any sort of musical contest when he was back home? Or
I did not read any of that, so
okay. We'll keep digging on that one. Next up, Rhode Island, 9-9 in conference play, 17-15 overall. But this is a team that seems to be on the rise. They're very trendy pick in the A-10 this year. So, Alex, what are your thoughts on Rhode Island?
Let's see. Rhode Island is going to compete for the top seed in the conference, I think. It'll be between Dayton, VCU, and Rhode Island. It'll be interesting to see how EC Matthews melds, I guess, with the new team that he has. He played one game last year, and he is a NBA talent. So it'll be interesting to see how he meshes with the rest of the team. Another guy on their team who's going to be a big-time performer is Hassan Martin. He's a 6'7" forward. He kind of plays inside. He averaged 2.5 blocks a game. So that could be interesting to see if he continues to play that well.
All right, Chris, we'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, like Alex said, EC Matthews back, so will be interesting. Some people are actually picking him for A-10 Player of the Year, which I find interesting. Hassan Martin's back. He's a solid force ammo. Also back this year, Jared Terrell. He was Rhode Island's leading scorer from last year. And he also led the team in minutes, so we'll see how he complements EC and Hassan Martin. And they also got a transfer from IU, Stanford Robinson. I know you guys all love that. But yeah, as you already know, he's got good athleticism. He's a good finisher. His jump shot's the one question about him, so we'll see if that's improved with his year off. But Alex won't like this. I have them finishing atop the A-10 ahead of Dayton.
Oh wow,
that's rough.
See how that works.
The only thing that I have to say about Stanford Robinson is I don't know whether he's going to be shooting with his right hand or his left hand this year. Sometimes he just decides based on how he's feeling that day. All right, Sean, we'll let you clean up the Rhode Island squad this year.
So honestly, Chris said I was upset about Stanford Robinson transferring from IU. I was not upset at all. That dude did not do anything for our team. He averaged like 6 points a game, and I swear he turned over the ball every other possession. It was just bad. But I think I'm gonna go on a limb here and say I think Robinson really will be a lot better this year. He never really found his role with IU. He was kind of played 25 minutes one game, 5 minutes the next. Never really got settled into a role. But I think with this Rhode Island team, he'll be able to play more minutes and he'll be able to step up, and I think he'll get more comfortable, and I think he'll be a big factor into them possibly winning the A-10 this year.
Yeah, I think the thing about Rhode Island is how quick they're going to be able to put it together because they have some new players and they also have guys returning from injury and they weren't half bad of a team last year without those guys. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how those guys mesh and how quickly they can as to whether they can kind of be at the top of the A-10. Next up, Davidson, 10-8 in league play last year, 20-12 overall. What are your thoughts on the Davidson squad? We'll go to Chris first on this.
All right, so as everyone knows, they have Jack Gibbs back. He's an absolute stud, 20-plus points per game. He's projected to win the scoring title in college basketball this year, which I found interesting. They also have a 6'8" forward, Peyton Aldridge, back, so he's going to complement Gibbs very well this year. There's this team, I think, will finish top 5 in the A-10. I have them right around that 4 or 5 mark, right with Bonaventure right there. But the only question mark I find with this team is that Jack Gibbs earlier this week, he had shoulder injury in practice. I'm not exactly sure what happened to him, but he's out 2 to 4 weeks. So I'm just wondering if that'll have any long-term effect on him. I doubt it will, but I mean, we'll see.
All right, Sean, what are your thoughts?
So Chris kind of hit on my points with Gibbs. Great player. He'll definitely be in the A-10, maybe Player of the Year conversation this year. But I like to point out Peyton Aldridge. I saw a tweet today that he looked really good at their red and black scrimmage and scored 16 points or something like that. Well, you can't really say much about an inter-squad scrimmage, but he's kind of an intriguing player to me and one to watch this year. And another guy in their front court that they had, Will McGarity from Boston College. I'm kind of skeptical on him because, Boston College, their favorite memory is getting food with the team after not winning a game last year. So he'll add experience and depth in the front court. So I think with this team, they have more pieces this year, which will help Gibbs out because he, as we know last year, he was kind of the guy for sure. I mean, he'll be the guy this year, but he'll have pieces around him that will help him be more efficient, handle the ball, and find open teammates to get open jumpers, and I think they'll have a pretty solid year. I don't know if they're NCAA tournament bound, but they'll be NIT. I think their ceiling is NCAA tournament first weekend.
Okay, I like it. I'm gonna mark that prediction down, and we'll revisit that later this season. Alex, what are your thoughts here?
Well, they pretty much hit on the points. Basically, this team will go how Jack Gibbs goes. He was 6th in the nation in scoring last year. So if Gibbs can turn it on and do what he did last year, that could be a dangerous team in the A-10. And I think that they could be a top 5, top 4 team in the A-10.
Gibbs used 34% of their possessions last year. That's good for 8th in the country. So he's going to be taking a lot of shots, using a lot of possessions. But if you can convert them, it'll be worth it for Davidson. All right, next up, George Washington. 11-7 in league play, 23-10 overall. We'll go right back to Alex on George Washington, his prediction for the season.
Well, I think this is an interesting team. They return a little bit. Basically, their big guy, Tyler Cavanaugh, comes back, 6'9" forward. You can't forget about Yuta Watanabe, the 6'9" guard out of Japan. He played pretty well last year.
Wait, he's a 6'9" guard?
Yep, 6'9" guard.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They call him the chosen one.
Yeah, they do. I think they could be a top 4 team again this year. Well, they were a top 5 last year. They could be top 5, top 4, just like Davidson. I think it's Cavanaugh's team though. Just like with Davidson, they'll go how Cavanaugh goes.
All right, Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so Alex kind of touched on the returning Cavanaugh and Watanabe. They're both huge, great players. They did lose 3 of their main guys from last year, though. Patricio Garino, I don't know if I said that right, but he led.
Yeah, you're right.
Score.
You're right.
And then they also lost Joe McDonald, who was their starting point guard for a while, and he was always consistent, ran the offense. And they also lost Kevin Larson, who averaged almost a double-double. They do have a freshman coming in, 6'8", Kevin Marfo. He was 3-star recruit, very physical. I think he'll start from day one. But yeah, like Alex said, I think they're gonna be. I think the best they'll do is like 5th. I don't see them doing any better than that.
Okay, all right. Sean, we'll throw it to you to clean up on George Washington.
Yeah, everything I was going to say was said, but I still have a little salty taste in my mouth after they beat my beloved Valparaiso Crusaders. So they play in the CBE Classic in the preseason, I think in November. And I hope they make it to the championship and play Kansas and get absolutely destroyed. So all I have to say is that they're a very unpredictable team, and who really knows what will happen with them this year.
Boy, very interesting hot take there to finish it off for George Washington. Definitely something to look out for. So now we got St. Joseph's.
Yeah.
My boy DeAndre Bembry is gone.
Yep.
He tore my heart out after not pulling off that upset against Oregon in the NCAA tournament. Killed my bracket, but you know what? I'm not going to hold it against them like Sean. 13-5 in league play, 27-7 overall. So we'll go to Chris to start off about St. Joseph's.
Yeah, so they lost their 2 best players from last year, DeAndre Bembry, A-10 player of the year, Isaiah Miles. He was solid all the way around, most improved player last year, shot it from deep, everything. So they lost 2 of their big front court guys, and also they lost another front court guy, Pier Francesco Oliva, guy from Italy. He's sidelined for the season because of a knee injury. He could shoot it from deep as well, so it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. But they have good experienced guards. Lamar Kimball, he was actually named a captain as a sophomore, is voted on by the teammates, so that his teammates obviously think very highly of him. Shavar Newkirk Jr., he's put up solid points. I mean, he's been kind of in the background with Bembry and Miles, but he's very explosive. This is a stretch, but some aspects of his game remind me a little bit of Kyrie Irving, deceptive speed,
wow.
quick handles. Yeah.
Boy.
Some parts, not all of it. So he's a very exciting player to watch, and also James Demery, 6'5". He's very athletic. So he'll be another leader on this team. I think they'll be towards the back of the pack this year. I think they'll finish around 10. They could come out more and surprise everyone with the experience they have at guard, but I don't think so. And I hate to say that, but I just don't think it'll happen.
I think the tough thing about this team is they lost so much in Bembry. He was really kind of a Swiss Army knife, did all kind of guy. So he's going to be a tough loss. So, Sean, what are your thoughts about St. Joseph's?
So Chris kind of hit. Yeah, I've been seem to be getting the schedule, focusing on the schedule a lot, because you guys seem to be hitting on all the points that I want to say. But a thing I really am intrigued about is their non-conference schedule. They played Temple to start the year, Villanova. They could play either NC State or Creighton in the Paradise Jam Championship, depending on how that goes. They play what many think is the Ivy League champion for this year, Princeton, and the NBC dark horse, Illinois State, who a lot of people are saying will have a good chance to win the Missouri Valley Conference. But there's really not a lot of experience on this team, and it's really hard to see them as an A-10 contender. But I think the future is bright with this program, especially with a couple of recruits in the class of 2017 that I'm not really sure of their names. But I think this team, after the year they had last year, they're going to have a rebuilding year for sure, but I think they'll be on the way up soon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like it. Alex, we will throw it to you. But real quick for everyone out there, we do have a group chat for the people that are in here, and Alex just said that Villanova will not win a single game all year. So just if you heard a little bit of snickering in the background, that was us reading that comment by him. So I don't even know what to do with that, but we'll let you go now. Talk about St. Joseph's.
Hey, that relates to our podcast preview from the tournament last year when Brad said that they would be out after the first weekend. So,
hey, I'm fine with that.
Anyway,
I'm sticking with that pick next tournament too.
You gotta always stick with that pick. Anyway, St. Joe's, as a Dayton Flyer fan, I'm so glad that Bembry and Miles are gone. Don't have to worry about those guys ever again. I really don't know anything about this St. Joe's team now that they're both gone. I'm looking through their roster. I don't remember any name from when we played them last year. I don't remember anything about it. So that's going to make me think that they're going to be a bottom-tier team in the A-10. Sorry about that, Chris. That's just that's how the cookie crumbles.
I understand. That
cookie crumbles. Boy, Alex Handorf is out in full force. Did everyone say what they had to say about St. Joseph's? I'm so miffed by this whole Villanova pick. I'm all out of sorts.
Chris, bad times make the good times better.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, like Sean said, they do have two recruits for the 2017 class, and Taylor Funk and Anthony Longpre, and they're both 6'9", and they can take it to the hoop, shoot from deep. So it should be exciting come next season what the St. Joe's team can do, because they won't really lose anyone who produces after this year.
All right, I like the whole trusting the process thing for college basketball also. All right, next, St. Bonaventure, 14-4 in league play, 22-8 overall, and they got completely gypped on a NCAA tournament bid. Michigan should not have been in. It should have been St. Bonaventure, but, last season's over. So, Alex, what do you have to say about St. Bonaventure?
I think this team could be a dark horse team to win the A-10, honestly. They returned Jalen Adams, point guard, shooting guard, kind of a combo. He put up 40-plus points last year against VCU on only like 18 shots. So if he's able to do that time and time again, which I would say he probably can't, they could have potential to be a dark horse candidate to win the game or win the A-10. They bring in a transfer, Chinonso Obako from Syracuse. I don't know much about him. He could be good. He played at Syracuse for a year. Syracuse did beat Dayton in the tournament last year, so they got to be really good. But yeah, that's all I got.
Oh goodness, this is gone from bad to worse. Alex is just waiting. Everything is in relation to Dayton.
We're 2 teams
All
away,
right.
man. I'm so happy.
All right, Chris, we'll throw it to you here because I know Alex is chomping at the bit to get up this list a little bit more.
Yeah, so they lost probably their 2 best players from last year. Marcus Posley, 20 points per game from anywhere on the court. Deion Wright, and he was a forward and averaged almost a double-double per game. So those are 2 big losses. But yeah, like Alex said, they do bring back Jalen Adams, and I think if anyone could challenge Gibbs for A-10 Player of the Year, I think it's definitely him. He shot 44% from beyond the arc last year, which was top 20 in the country, which is better than guys like Grayson Allen and Gabe York. But I mean, this is kind of like what I said about Richmond. Jalen Adams will take them where they want to go, and they're going to go as far as whatever he can do. So, but I think they will finish top 5 in the A-10 definitely this year.
All right, I like it a lot. Sean, we'll bring it to you to clean it up.
So this is going to be another bold prediction for this year. I think Jalen Adams is the next Steph Curry out of the A-10 in college. Not NBA.
Wow.
Not NBA.
Hey, Davidson
college.
wasn't in the A-10 when Curry was there. Just a little heads up.
Well, you get what I mean, but I mean, he's going to have to score so much for this team. He's going to average 25 points a game. He's going to beat out Jack Gibbs for Player of the Year, and the Bonnies are going to make it to the NCAA tournament.
Wow. Well, all I have to say is they have Arkansas Little Rock on their schedule early in the season. So if they're able to pull off that win, I mean, Arkansas Little Rock is always a tough out, as a lot of people, especially my roommate Zach Bueller, knows. So a little subtle jab there, but had to throw it in there. Okay, moving on. We have second to last team. They just came in second last year. VCU, 14-4 and 24-10 overall. So Shaka Smart's gone, but it's a new regime there. We will go with Sean first on the VCU squad.
So I am a big fan of Will Wade. Many people thought they would have a really down year, but they exceeded expectations. People kind of thought he'd change the culture a little bit at VCU, but I think he's making it that much better. He recruits guys that will play defense, quick, length, and will just do anything in order to win. But a name I think that people should look out for is Jaquan Lewis. He played his best last year, the last 5 games of the season, He averaged 21 points per game in that span, and he basically led that team into the NCAA tournament. And I think if he can build off on that, then this VCU team has a really good chance of winning the A-10 this year and possibly being a second weekend team in the NCAA tournament.
All right, I love it. Chris, what are your thoughts?
So yeah, they have Jaquan Lewis, Justin Tillman, Mo, Ali Cox. I love that name. Jordan Burgess as well. He was a consistent shooter. Always has been, redshirt senior. But I think he's gonna be an X factor for them this year. Those 4 guys will definitely lead this team. And I think they'll finish 3rd in the A-10 behind Alex's Dayton Flyers. So sorry Dayton's not first for me, Alex, but at least they're number 2.
Okay, Alex, we will let you finish it off here.
There's one thing VCU will win in the A-10, and it is the most guys with dreadlocks. I was looking down their roster, and it's like half their team has dreads. So, let me get to my points. Mo Alley Cox can go ahead and graduate already because I feel like that dude's been there forever. And he's an X factor, and he's not a big center, but that's the position he plays. 6'7", 250. He's like a freaking NFL tight end. He just pushes people around. Another guy that I don't think either of you mentioned is Justin Tillman. He pulled down like 22 boards against Dayton last year in the final game that we played. So that's a he has potential to be good because he didn't play a lot last year until Moai Cox got hurt. Yeah, I think they can compete. They'll be top 2, top 3 for sure.
Wow, the only thing I'm looking at the VCU KenPom page, and he has them losing to Baylor on the 23rd of November, 71-70, and then he doesn't have them losing again until February 25th against Rhode Island on the road. So he has them only losing 3 games this year to Baylor.
Is one of them to Dayton?
Yeah, Dayton away. It's Rhode Island, then Dayton away, and then the Baylor. So that's KenPom. So, I mean, if they could pull off that Baylor upset, then they could be kind of coasting a little bit once they get into A-10 play. All right, last but not least.
Oh, boy.
And I have
Hey, can I take like 7 minutes here? It's going to take at least that long for me to get
I have a
access to you.
mute button available to me if I need to use it. And I
can
will
unmute myself, though.
All right.
The
Alex, I just want to say that I did not prepare that much on Dayton because I was expecting a half-hour rant. So I mean,
we should just let Alex just talk, and then we'll just kind of give our reactions. Dayton was 14-4 last year, 25-7 overall. They were an absolute train wreck all year. All right. No, I'm just kidding. I'll just leave it to Alex and let him. The only point I'll have to make beforehand is Costas Underhiombo. I am devastated. I thought he was going to be huge for Dayton. But.
Me too.
All right. So, Alex, it's all you.
Literally, my heart is pounding so hard right now because I'm so excited for Dayton basketball. Where to even start? All right. So,
with the basketball team.
They lost 2 major components to their team last year. Deshaun Pierre graduated. He now plays overseas. Steve McIlvain, obviously, he died, which is depressing. That kid was going to be an NBA prospect, so it's disappointing. Let's get to the happier things. I'll start getting emotional. Anyway, the big part of this team, nobody knows about this kid. Josh Cunningham is going to be a monster. This kid is going to be so good. Transferred from Bradley, sat out last year because of transfer rules. He's probably going to be our 5. He's only 6'7", so he's undersized, but he's kind of like a Mo Alley Cox type deal. He's a freaking NFL tight end. He just bullies people in the paint. And during the red-blue game against Sam Miller, one of our other bigs, he just dominated him down low. So I think he's going to be good. Best name in college basketball, Scoochie Smith. He's going to be a stud at point. Charles Cook will win the A-10 Player of the Year. There's no question about it.
Whoa. Wow.
But my dark horse prediction for A-10 Player of the Year is also going to be Josh Cunningham. So let me do one last thing. Kyle Davis is the best defender in college basketball. I honestly do believe that. I'm not trying to be biased as you guys think I am, but Kyle Davis shuts down very, very, very good players. And there's proof all over everywhere. So Dayton's going to win the A-10 this year. That's all I got. And my prediction that I told you guys about, Final Four run.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Well,
This is the team to do it because they lose a lot after this year. They will not be very good next year.
Well, my counter argument, and this is going to be it's going to be tough to swallow, but Dayton was a Aaron Kraft floater away from being knocked out in the first round the year that they made their big run. So
They went
you
to the
never
Elite
know.
Eight, though.
You never know.
And
never know.
they are undersized this year. But the last time they were undersized, they made a run with only 6 scholarship players. So I don't think that means a lot in today's college basketball.
I was so ready for Dayton basketball to begin and watched Costas just absolutely destroy people with his length and agility and everything. But I can't believe he's ruled ineligible. That's going to be kind of tough for them. But
I think that's a blessing in disguise, though, because he is skinny, really skinny. He needs to put on some weight, a lot of weight.
Should take him to the local Burger King, get him a few cheeseburgers.
Got one right down from campus. Should be there.
Get all the Greek food out of his system. Come on, let's get it going. But yeah, I mean, I really don't have anything else to add. You're the Dayton expert. So the only thing I have to add, I know Chris mentioned it, but Sean, who is the winner of the A-10 this year?
The winner of the A-10? I'd say VCU. I was kind of
all gonna go against me.
Back and forth today, kind of with Rhode Island and VCU, but I think it ultimately be VCU. Will Wade's a great coach, and he gets the most out of his players, and I think them and Rhode Island will match up in the conference championship and equal talent, but I think Will Wade's just gonna outcoach Hurley.
All right. So I like that. I'm kind of picking Dayton very hesitantly though, but we'll go with the Flyers. I mean, if they have to go into a small arena and small crowds, they're really going to struggle, according to Alex. I know.
Well, yeah, and they play. Well, no, they play their championship this year in Pittsburgh, and it's not at Duquesne, so they won't have to worry about that.
Okay, well, we'll have to keep that in mind for the future. They play St. Mary's in the non-conference schedule, which will be a nice game. But other than that, Vanderbilt's not going to be very good. Northwestern's not going to be very good. Bama's just not very good. Avery Johnson's just all
Nobody
over
wants
the
to play us. Nobody wants to come in the Dayton Decibel Dungeon, man. Nobody wants to do it.
Well, you can come to Assembly Hall anytime you guys like. I'm sure we'll be happy to greet you.
Give us a home and home.
I hope you guys lose to St. Louis this year.
Wow. Okay. This is starting to get hostile. All right. One more time around, just to one quick thing. Player of the year for the A-10. We'll start off with Sean. Who's your prediction?
Jalen Adams, St. Bonaventure.
Okay.
Nothing else left to be said.
All right, Chris. Who's your pick?
Definitely Jack Gibbs, no doubt.
All right, Alex. The whole Dayton team, or
and the whole Dayton team. Well, the thing I have with Jack Gibbs winning the Player of the Year, he was the sixth highest scorer. That's one of the things that one of the reasons I don't think he'll win it. Honestly, I do think Charles Cook will win the A-10 Player of the Year.
All right, I'm actually agreeing with Chris on this one. I think it's going to be Jack Gibbs. I think he's going to light it up. I think he's going to have a big year, and I think he's going to kind of carry that team at times to some big wins. All right, well, now that we've got our predictions in, we'll just go wrap it up one time around. Closing thoughts. You can throw in your thoughts about what's on your mind to wrap it up. We will start off with Alex.
Personally, I think this is one of the deepest fields in the A-10 in past years. I think the A-10 is going to be a 3 to 4 bid team or conference. I think it's going to be tough. It'll be tough sledding in there.
All right, Chris. Final thoughts.
Yeah, like Alex said, this is going to be an exciting year. A lot of competition. There are definitely 3 teams that could be in the top 25 consistently. So yeah, I'm just really excited to watch all these games this year and see what happens. And Alex, I hope Dayton wins no games this year.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Why?
Oh wow.
So much hate.
Hot takes. Jeez, we need to add Chris Garcia to one of these podcasts and just let everyone just start firing shots at each other.
Well, St. Joe's won't win a game this year, so you hoping Dayton doesn't win one doesn't really.
Oh,
Okay.
hey,
All
I've
right.
accepted it. I've accepted it. It's okay.
Sean, what are your closing remarks?
So I really like the A-10 this year, and I think it's going to be a great conference to watch. It's really anyone's field, but I do think VCU will win the whole thing. But I think in a couple years, this is going to be one of the top mid-major conferences for sure. There's a lot of underclassmen who are going to be
Already
solid.
is.
And there's going to be a lot of freshmen, sophomores coming in, some good recruiting classes, especially over there at St. Louis. I'm just excited for this season to start, and A-10, I think I'm going to follow it pretty closely this year and see what VCU can do.
All right. My closing statement, I'm going to touch a little bit on everything. First off, I kind of hope that Dayton wins the A-10 just for everyone in the group me's sake, because it would just get real ugly if Dayton doesn't win.
Well, remember what happened last year in the group meet after the Syracuse game?
Oh yeah, I don't even want to think about that. But
Did you cry?
other than that, we've got great World Series baseball on. It's kind of bridging the gap here for me. Roll Tribe.
Roll Tribe.
Also, Joel Embiid is going to be the Rookie of the Year in the NBA. You heard it here first. He looked incredible last night. I had dual screens on. And Kawhi Leonard's winning the MVP of the NBA. So I'll give you a little NBA tidbits there. Hope you all enjoyed the podcast. Be sure to keep an eye on the website. We have daily updates coming on for all of our teams. So just keep an eye. Follow us on Twitter at EduPridePress. We tweet out all the links to the articles, and it's easy to follow along there. We should be back with our ACC preview, which has another absolute loaded crew expecting to be on there. So keep an eye out for that pod coming within the next week or so. Thanks, guys, for joining me, and best of luck to everyone in the A-10 this year.